Before we start going through the list, I need to mention that I wanted to put Star Wars Jedi Survivor on the list, but there is currently not enough information regarding the game or the release date. Be sure that the game would have been on this list. Now, at number 15 we have Atlas Fallen. Atlas Fallen is an action-adventure role-playing game set in a world covered by sand. There is not too much information about the game as of today I am making this video. But there has been said that the game will be similar to God of War, although it will be placed in the sand with magic dependent on sand as well. There has been promises made by the authors, such as interesting story, changing weapons and legendary creatures. What this entails is still not fully known, so we will have to stay hopeful. Atlas Fallen is set to release sometime in 2023. At number 14 we have Tribe Primitive Builder. Tribe Primitive Builder is an indie action simulator. There is not much known about the game yet, but we do know some key features. Tribe is a game where you play the role of the architect, the voice of the elders. You're the one in charge of exploring the island, collecting valuable resources, constructing the village, and more. Your choice will affect if your tribe survives or perishes, so follow the advice of the elders or don't, and reap the consequences. Whether or not you choose to do so, there will be a reputation system in place that will show you if your tribe trusts you or not. You're the one in charge of growing your village. You choose how fast or how slow the growth will be. Be strategic in your choices. Tribe Primitive Builder is set to release sometime in 2023. At number 13 we find Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart is an action-adventure role-playing game set in a world where the robots that used to be man's servants now has taken control. This leads to the creation of more advanced, super-powered robots in addition to mutant creatures, in which it is your job to exterminate on your path towards finding what lies behind the rebellion. The game features a combat style that makes you adapt to each unique opponent you encounter. You'll make use of your experimental power glove to use skills, in addition to different weapons, both melee and ranged. So when you find your favorite weapon, hold on to them and upgrade them when you have the necessary resources. Atomic Heart is set to release the 21st of February. At number 12 we have Terra Nil. Are you in need of a break and you feel it's time to help restore a forgotten and barren world? Then Terra Nil may be the game for you. This is a game where you help the flora flourish once again. You need to make sure there is enough water nearby, that the soil is pure, and that it is electricity enough for the machines to do all this work. This is a very relaxed game, where the only focus is on restoring the environment back to the way it was before the human interference. Terra Nil is set to release early in 2023. At number 11 we find Forspoken. Forspoken is an action-adventure role-playing game where you will be playing as Frey Holland. The game is set in the realms of Althea. The story has to do with Frey being the key for this once beautiful and flourishing world to become that once again. The matriarchs, known as the Tantas, has been corrupted, and they need to be confronted. The corruption is known as the Break, and it corrupts everything it touches. It makes animals into beasts, and men into monsters. But Frey is unaffected by this corruption. Frey gets transported to Althea, and at the same time, she unlocks something that makes it possible for her to wield magic, both as a weapon and as a way of traveling. Hint, it's her cuff. Forspoken uses magic-enhanced parkour as its way of traversing the world. The combat is customizable. You can choose fast-paced playstyle, or you can go with a more strategic playstyle, the heavy hitter, if you will. Forspoken will be released on the 24th of January. At number 10 we find Dredge. Dredge is a game where you are the captain of a fishing trawler. But wait, don't click off just yet. This is a game filled with mystery, and being influenced by the Lovecraftian, it's almost guaranteed to work your mind in unsettling ways. You'll navigate your trawler across the unsettling depths of areas that should have stayed undiscovered, and a collection of remote islands where you'll be able to meet their inhabitants, sell your catch, and upgrade your boat. The choice is yours, but ultimately, in the end, is it really? Dredge will release sometime in 2023. At number 9, we find Gord. Gord is a unique city builder with survival elements. You will be in charge of the well-being of your tribe. You'll lead them on explorations, you'll have them complete quests, and much more. There is an element of consistent danger, where enemy tribes, monsters, or forces beyond your imagination will seek to destroy your tribe. There will be a variety of different activities for you to encounter while you play. Everything from the main mission with a sprinkle of random encounters and side missions. And while you're out exploring and completing those, there will also be custom procedurally generated scenarios for you to encounter on your journey. Be cautious, for there is a sanity and burden system that will affect your population. So watch out for your clan, so that you know that they have each other's backs at all times. Gord is set to release sometime in 2023. At number 8, we have Unholy. Unholy is an indie action horror game that takes place in 2 parallel worlds. The game is set to have a dark storyline with equally dark visuals. The gameplay will mostly revolve around exploration, solving puzzles, and making use of stealth while infiltrating the priest's territories. The game features what the devs are calling an innovative combat system, which makes use of emotion in your interaction with the environment. There is still lots of information missing on this aspect, but let's hope it actually is innovative. The last system worth mentioning is the mask system. You will craft or find masks from which your skills will be changed or improved, so you will make use of different masks for different tasks. Unholy is set to release sometime in 2023. At number 7, we find Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts is an action role-playing game set in the fantasy world of Azuma, a world inspired by feudal Japan. The game seems to be inspired by Monster Hunter also. You will take on the role of a nameless hunter in your adventure throughout Azuma. Azuma is not an open world. It is a group of large areas for you to explore in your search of the Komono. You will be able to unlock new equipment as you progress through the game, as well as more challenging monsters, or Komono. In the encounters with said monsters, you will be able to wield your favorite weapon out of 8 possible weapon types. The game will also feature a building mechanic, which makes it possible for the players to create items that will assist them in battle, either as a way of doing more damage or as an obstacle for the monsters. Wild Hearts is set to release on the 17th of February. At number 6, we find Strayblade. Strayblade is an action-adventure game where you take on the role of a rogue warrior with a companion by your side. The game is set in Acria, the Lost Valley, a wild and overgrown but powerful place. Your mission is to restore balance to Acria, and to do so, you will need to discover what made this once peaceful place into a place of war and death. The world will continue on even if you die, so you may have cleared out a camp or a point of interest once. That doesn't mean you should think of this area as safe, because more powerful opponents will inhabit these areas as time goes by. The game's selling point has to be their combat, which they describe as hyper-responsive, where you will be able to react quickly to control the flow of battle. You will encounter bosses and harvest their powers to use in the quest to discover Acria's mysteries. The game features 2 separate talent trees, one for you and one for your companion. While you get your XP from combat, Boji, your companion, gets his from finding ancient lore pieces. Explore the Lost Valley to find lore, treasures, rare materials, weapons, or recipes. Every discovery will yield either a visual or a materialistic reward. Strayblade is set to release sometime in 2023. At number 5, we have Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is a real classic that's been remade. It's a survival horror game, which is regarded as one of the most influential games of the 2000s, particularly due to its influence in redefining the third-person shooter genre. The remake is set to stick to the original game in terms of following Leon's story, while allowing enough expansion to flavor the game for new and returning players. The atmosphere will be just as scary as you remember, or even more so. 6 years have passed since the biological disaster in Raccoon City. You will be playing the role of Leon, and you're being sent to Spain to rescue the US president's daughter from a mysterious cult. While on your mission, you will encounter a variety of creatures, infected and not infected, so be ready to fight at all times. Resident Evil 4 is releasing the 24th of March. At number 4, we have Hogwarts Legacy. It is finally time for you to immerse yourself in the arts of magic and mystery at Hogwarts, like you have wanted to for almost 2 decades. Hogwarts Legacy is an open-world action RPG, which lets you do exactly that, and more. You'll explore both familiar and new locations in your journey. You can finally create the wizard that reflects your values the most. But be wary, for the game director has stated that you'll get different choice points throughout the game, and quote, some of those things can affect things game-wide. Some of these affect character lives, end quote. He also hints at there being multiple endings depending on the choices you've made. So, choose both your allies and your enemies carefully. Hogwarts Legacy is releasing on the 10th of February. At number 3, we find Dead Space. Dead Space, the classic survival horror game most of us know, is getting rebuilt, not just remastered. The devs state that the game has been completely rebuilt to offer a more immersive experience. They will be staying faithful to the original game's vision, but with improved atmosphere, audio and gameplay as a whole. You're playing as Isaac Clarke, a CEC engineer answering the distress call from the USG Ishimura. This distress call soon turns out to be a lot more than what he bargained for, and it quickly turns into a battle for survival. You must improvise to survive the nightmare aboard the USG Ishimura. Repurpose and upgrade the standard engineering tools to be able to use as weapons of dismemberment. But be wary, the battle won't be just with the terrors aboard the ship. You will also have to battle your own sanity. Be ready to survive when Dead Space releases on January 27th. At number 2, we find Starfield. Bethesda calls this game a next-generation role-playing game, and what that entails is something we will have to wait and see. It was originally set to release 11th of November this year, but thankfully they did delay the game to fix issues. Let's hope they manage to do just that. Bethesda's new and ambitious project takes us to the year 2330. By now the human race has travelled far beyond our own solar system to find inhabitable worlds in other solar systems. The story starts with you as a space miner at first, for then to be recruited by Constellation. Constellation is the last group of space explorers. With them you will, explore? Duh. There are said to be 1,000 planets for you to explore. And on your journey, you will be able to customize your character to your preferences, both in regards to how your character looks and what traits your character has. You will be able to build outposts and hire NPCs to work for you, customize your ship, and more. There is still a lot of information yet to be announced, but so far the concept is amazing. Starfield is set to release sometime in 2023. And lastly, at number 1, we find Stalker 2. After over a decade of waiting, the time is finally here for Stalker 2 to release. And from what has been announced, it's probably going to be worth the wait. Stalker 2 will be running on Unreal Engine 5, and for the first time in the series, it'll have a seamless open world. You'll be taking on the role of a lone stalker, with whom you'll traverse the 64 square kilometers open world. Here, you'll meet members of different factions with whom you choose what is going to happen. You'll encounter a variety of enemies, including legendary mutants with a variety of different behavior models, making sure to always keep you on your toes. And remember, the more dangerous the area, the higher the likelihood of there being valuable loot. Stalker 2 features a highly branching story where your choices affect not just the moment and who may live, but also affects the ending, which is going to be a really nice feature for all of us completionists out there who want to experience all the different endings possible. Stalker 2 is releasing sometime in December of 2023. And that's the conclusion of my list. How is your list looking? Do you have any games in mind that you missed from my list? In that case, let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching.